July 10th, 2004, my son Dustin had asked me to go out at night. So the Friday night started out for him as any other night. You know, they're texting, they're figuring it out, and they're going over to a friend's house just to kind of hang out for the evening. And it ended up being in a kind of reconverted garage, a room above a garage. Unfortunately, what started to happen was there was drinking involved. These are underage children. These are underage teens. They started drinking, and then, most of this information, I'm sorry, I'm only getting from police reports because I wasn't there. Marijuana was involved, and so was a drug called PCP. Now, I can tell you from a report that parents would receive is a medical report, and it's called an autopsy. My son Dustin was sober, and he was seatbelted, but he made the wrong decision. He made a decision to get into a vehicle with teens that were impaired. And a typical late night pizza run, only 2 miles away from where they were together, and there was only 3 of them. They went for a pizza run. And after the pizza was consumed and they were on their way home at 1 in the morning, what ended up happening was the driver of the vehicle, to give you an idea, was in the front seat, and then a passenger was in the front seat. My son was in the back seat, seated behind the passenger. And at that time, that driver, impaired on all 3 substances, alcohol, drugs, PCP, and marijuana, started to speed in a zone that was marked 35 and was going 70 to 75 miles an hour in a 2-lane road up in Kent, Connecticut. The car went out of control. It hit an embankment on the other side of this 2-lane road. It ricocheted back off to the other side, hit a tree, hit a speed sign, hit another marker, and then at that point, the car careened off the side of the road and went airborne. And it went airborne 35 feet in the air. And then it plunged into the Housatonic River and started to sink. And as it started to sink, the 2 in the front were able to get out. My son, Dustin, who you'll soon meet, was 6 feet tall, with fiery red hair that had a personality to match. And what I do know from the wonderful doctors that told me is his last 10 minutes. He was fighting for his life. He was fighting for air, and every time he fought for air in his lungs, more water went in. I remember asking the medical doctor at St. Mary's Hospital here in Waterbury, did he hit his head? Because I was hoping that it was fairly quick. Did he hit his head? Did he break his neck? Any of the things that would cause something to happen fairly quickly. He was extremely kind, but put his head down and said, "No, ma'am, your son drowned." So what I do know about drowning is there's the few minutes of just being able to breathe, and then your arms will start to kind of figure out where he is. He was in a vehicle upside down in dark, murky water in a river. Your whole senses are off. But I know he tried. I know that after 2 minutes, things get tougher. After 6 minutes, you start to lose consciousness. And then usually within 10 minutes, there is brain damage and then death. I was not there to give him a kiss. I was not there to stroke his cheek. I was not there to hold him, to say goodbye and say it's okay. So I ask all of you parents today to please talk early. Talk often about what your kids are doing. Talk to them about the dangers, the ripple effect that happens is astounding. I'm going to end with just a few ripple effects that I want you to keep in mind. There doesn't a day go by where my husband today will not stir his coffee with the spoon that Dustin gave him. A day doesn't go by where I don't have Dustin's cell phone still in my pocketbook. Paid 3 years of Verizon phone bills because I needed to hear his voice. His friends sing songs in his honor. His friends still connect with me. But I don't have Dustin. I wear his thumbprint just so I have something close to him. Finally, just saying the tears that I may have will absolutely help grow the seeds that you've planted in your children. Plant the right seeds in your children because you want them to flourish, you want them to survive, you want them to thrive, because they are our next generation and they are unbelievable children. Thank you for listening. I now kind of want you to be introduced to my son, Dustin.